Item 25, consideration of Hurricane Ike issues submitted by Emergency Management Coordinator. John.
Good morning, gentlemen. First item, the consideration of authorizing execution of contracts for sale. We have no new ones today, no action necessary. 25B, we do have 7 revised contracts on the agenda today, so I would need a motion to authorize approving those.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I do have a couple of questions, John, on this issue. Back on July 14th, I asked you who selected the title company for the buyout program.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, you had made the statement that that was Beck's decision. Do you remember that?
Beck, as our consultant, pulled together the materials on that and made a recommendation. Yes, sir.
Okay. And they made that recommendation to Galveston County?
Yes.
For us to approve their recommendation? Okay. And the reason I bring this issue up is there's been a lot of unanswered questions. I've been trying to recall when Commissioner's Court had approved the contract for this selection because, you know, with the sitting county commissioner being the owner of the title company, it's created a lot of stir and a lot of statements. So I did a little further checking and communicated with John, and we sent emails to Beck, and Beck responded to us last Thursday. Do you remember that? Okay. Do you have a copy of the documents that they had submitted to us last Thursday?
I do. I didn't bring those to court
Okay.
today, though.
Well, let me give you a copy here, and that way you've got it to refer to. You know, is that the letter they sent us?
Mm-hmm.
That you're recalling? You know, not having had the public discourse on the title company, I wanted to find out how this process took place because I wasn't understanding or I wasn't aware of it, and I felt that as county commissioner it was my duty to look into the situation. And we got the document, and it talked about how they had gone through and talked with all the number of title companies in the county and made a recommendation of 3 and wanted us to approve it. And in the email it referred to March 18th, 2009, and lo and behold, on the bottom of this document that Beck wanted us to approve, it's got the county judge's signature on it. I don't remember any discussion or commissioner's court voting on this issue. Is that a fair statement, John?
My recollection is that there are a number of documents related to all of these Ike grant programs that, because of the extraordinary nature of all the things that we're doing and the multitude of documents that we're trying to push along, not everything necessarily comes to the surface for discussion. It's fairly routine with all of our grant projects, especially things to this nature. We have to commit a certain amount of, or give a certain amount of ability to our consultants, our chosen consultants, to help us wade through this process. And a lot of time there are going to be documents that move through. The letter is pretty clear to me, and as I recall, it's been some time, but as I recall, they looked at companies that were capable of doing this, looked at past history with buyout projects, and moved forward. In my discussion since we talked, with our consultant about this particular issue, it's been very clear, made very clear to me, that there was no understanding at the time that this process was being pushed forward, under a lot of pressure from citizens wanting us to get this rolling, that there was no knowledge, for example, that our commissioner was associated with this. The comment that's been made to me was that, at the time that we were working through to choose the best company to do this work for Galveston County, we didn't know Pat Doyle from Pat Boone. I mean, they're a Florida-based company that partners with a nationally known consultant to do buyout programs. They've done them across the country. And to them, this was standard procedure. They did their due diligence. They looked at the companies they felt were best qualified. Clearly, they decided Southland Title was the best. And as their consultant making a recommendation to us, we're going to accept that recommendation. So that's kind of my recollection of the circumstances.
I guess go back to the question is how can the county judge sign a document giving approval to accepting the recommendation of the consultant without express vote of Commissioner's Court on a $100 million contract?
I'm sorry?
My question is how does the judge sign a document giving approval of selecting the title company on a $100 million contract without Commissioner's Court approval?
My assumption would be that this would be part of the documents that were part of the backup and or received in file at some later date. That's something that we've done routinely with the documentation. We've got, as you know, dozens of pieces of correspondence pouring through multiple offices at the same time, and sometimes it's very difficult to compile all these. You got 4 or 5 different people seeing the same thing. So there have been occasions, many occasions since I've struck, where we have had to act quickly on projects, grant-related and recovery projects, and then ratified after the fact. So I don't know that to be the case here. I'm just speculating. I know that that's been fairly common with our deadline issues.
Well, it's interesting you would bring that up, because when we had received the email last Thursday, I went ahead and went to the agenda for March 18th, 2009. It was item 22B. And what the agenda item was verbiage of us approving the criteria for the program. There was a few modifications made to the criteria which would allow us to do elevation and buyouts on the mainland and a couple other technical issues. There was no mention in the agenda language that specifically said title company or any other company. So then I thought, well, that's not it. So then I went and I looked at the DVD from that day, March 18, 2009, and reviewed the DVD from that day. And the discussion was about the criteria. There was no discussion about any title company or any other company in the conversation that day. So I thought that was kind of odd. So then I go to the county clerk's office and request the official the official minutes of the meeting from March 18, 2009. And lo and behold, this document here, signed by the county judge with his signature on it, was slipped into the minutes of Commissioner's Court without a vote of Commissioner's Court on a $100 million contract. How does that happen? Can anybody here in this room answer me that question? How does the county judge sign a document without express permission from Commissioner's Court?